Hey, today is Tip Tuesday, and we're going to talk about how to reclaim your authentic magic. Now, what I mean by that is the magic that you define. We talked last week in Tip Tuesday about the need for defining magic on your own terms. So, how exactly do you do that? A lot of times as children, we have magic within us. We we always have magic within us, but as children, oftentimes it's easier for us to tap into that magic, and it becomes more difficult as we grow up because we turn into adults, and the adult Western mindset is not a magical one, and we're taught that magic is children's stories, it's fairy tales, it's not real, and we need to put away childish things as we grow up and become adults and work hard to make a lot of money. Now, there's nothing wrong with working hard, and there's nothing wrong with making money. There is something wrong with losing our magic. Now, we don't lose that magic. It's still there, it's still within us. We can lose it in the sense of we hide it and bury it to where we don't acknowledge it. And sometimes this is part of soul loss. When you hear of soul retrieval, it's not that your soul actually leaves your body and it has to be retrieved. It's core aspects of yourself that have been hidden and repressed in order to be able to function and stay safe in your life for whatever reason. And soul retrieval would be going and bringing those pieces back and reintegrating them with yourself fully. So sometimes when we lose our magic or we repress it, it does tend to um, manifest as soul loss, but not always. So um, it's still there, no matter how deep it's buried or whatever, your magic is still there. You don't lose it. You don't lose a part of yourself in that sense, that it's gone and can't be retrieved. So, how do you get that magic back? So, today I'm going to give you one tip on how to do that. And my number one tip on how to reclaim and define your authentic magic is to take time to think about the things you enjoyed as a child. So sometimes, if you're like me, there are big parts of your childhood that you don't remember. And that's okay, it's normal. But there will be some parts that you do remember. What are the things that you like to do as a child? What are the things you daydreamed about? What are the things you like to read about? What are the things you like to play with or imagine in your play? These are the keys to our magical soul and our magical self. A lot of times you hear a trope of little girls liking to read about or imagine ponies and unicorns, and that's one type of magic. And if that's what you did, then that's one key to your belief in magic. But just because you were a girl child does not necessarily mean that those were your things. They may have been, they may not have been. I'm just using those as examples. I did like to read about horses and ponies and things, but that wasn't really the key to my magic. Perhaps you were into fairies and things like that, or Merlin and Arthurian legend. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're a girl. I'm saying girl because I'm a girl, she, her. Um, so that's what I'm relating to as I'm talking here. But it doesn't matter if you're female or male, the process is the same. If you take the time to consider what you liked as a child, what you didn't like as a child, how you played, the stories that came out in your play, that will give you a glimpse into who you are authentically in terms of your magical self. So that's my number one tip. And I'll probably talk about another tip next week in Tip Tuesday. But for today, that's it. I want to keep it short and sweet. number one tip on how to redefine or define your personal brand of magic and be authentic with it is to take some time and plan, or not necessarily plan, but it is planning, but take some time and remember who you were as a child in terms of the fantasy that you like to play with, the stories you told yourself, the way you played, the things you read. And once you know what those are, start exploring them again. You probably still like them. Your likes don't change so much during your life. They do to an extent, but not 100% completely. So if you figure out what it was you enjoyed as a child and spend some time re-immersing yourself in those things. And if you're one of the lucky people who didn't repress your magical side, that's great, but you can still do this and you can still um, write down and think about the things that you enjoyed as a child. Do you still do them? Maybe. If not, reintegrate yourself with it. If you do, get more involved with it. Just get in touch with your childhood inner self, your inner child in terms of magic, and go from there. So again, that's my number one tip, and I'm going to shut up now and not keep saying it over and over. And I will see you next week for Tip Tuesday. Have a great week.